Welcome to a lesson with Dr. Powell. In this video, we're going to look at, start off by looking at a practice problem here for finding a derivative, which is perhaps fairly involved. However, it gives us some practice with some derivative rules, as we go. So first off, we see a product rule right here. So this quantity times this quantity. So, or boxing, if you will. Basically, we take the derivative of the first part times just that guy, and then we add to that this part times the derivative of the next part. And maybe what we can do along the way to help us is to give names to things. I'm going to call this first part A and this first part B. All right. So essentially what we're going to do is we know that y prime is going to be equal to the derivative of a times b plus a times the derivative of b prime. Now, we already know what a and b is, right? So we already know this and this. These things are. What we don't know is a prime and b prime. So essentially, we could use this in our result, especially if we're programming or something, we can have variables. So if we know what each part is, we're essentially done. Y prime is equal to this, and we know b and a already, but what we don't know is a prime and b prime. So essentially, after writing this down, we simply need to find a prime and b prime. So let's find a prime. So we start off by looking at a prime. Now, with a, what is this? This is like square root of something, so it's like something raised to the 1/2 power. So power rule, what do you do with something raised to the 1/2 power? You bring that exponent down, 1/2, and then you subtract 1 to the current exponent, which is 1/2, so you can add negative 1/2, times what's just down the inside, tangent x minus sine inverse of x. Then you have to multiply by the derivative of what's inside. Okay, the derivative of what's inside here, what's the derivative of tangent? That's secant. And see, this is just subtracted, so it's just going to be the derivative of this first part, subtract the derivative of that part, because across subtraction or addition, we can differentiation splits nicely, but it doesn't with products and quotients and things, so you have to be careful when we do things like that. So the derivative of the first part is secant squared x there, and then minus the derivative of sine inverse, which is 1 over the square root of 1 minus x squared. Okay, so, and then we're actually done with a prime. So we're well on our way. We know a, b, and a prime. So essentially, we're almost done with the whole thing. We just got to find b prime now. Okay, so b prime, we'll just look at this. And the derivative of the first part, 2x, is just simply ln of 2 times 2 to the x. The next part, this is a chain rule. The derivative of e to the something, like derivative of e to the x, is itself e to the x. So the derivative of, so we add to this, derivative of e to the something is just e to that something, but then you have to multiply by the derivative of that something, which the derivative of secant x is just simply secant x tangent x. Okay, now we go to the next part. Take the derivative of a natural log of something. Now, with natural log, you could think of this in a couple of ways, but the simplest way would just be go like natural log. This is the same thing as x cubed plus 1, and I'll keep it like this just so you can see what I'm doing. This natural log is the natural log of the top minus the natural log of the bottom, because like the exponent that makes e, or the exponent over e that makes x cubed plus 1, what you subtract off the exponent that would make x, to get the exponent that would make the fraction, because across a fraction, exponents subtract. So, I mean, it's a logarithmic property. The natural log of the top minus the logarithm of the bottom. So log of x cubed plus 1 minus the natural log of x. Okay, with the subtraction. Now, and you can distribute that negative through. So this is like negative natural log x cubed plus 1. And if I were to just do a little erasing for a second here. So essentially this would be, the negative comes in, it's just negative and a plus. Okay, so take the derivative. So then it makes it easier. Take the derivative of this part. That's going to be negative 1 over what's on the inside there, x cubed plus 1. And then multiply by the derivative of the inside part, x cubed plus 1. Derivative of that is just 3x squared. And plus 1, derivative of that plus 1, 0. Then over here, derivative of natural log of x is just plus 1 over x. And derivative of 1 there is just 0. Okay, so we're done. We just found the derivative of b prime. We're done with the whole thing. It looked really nasty at first, but really if we break it up into these parts, we're done. We know what b prime is. We know what a is. We know what b is. We know what a prime is. We put them together this way. We have the result. That's what y prime is equal to. And we're through with that particular practice problem. And in the next video, we'll have another one. Thanks for watching.